Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to this game's tutorial. Today what we are going to do is we are going to start tackling one of the biggest UI pieces called the Atlas, and it's pretty much going to be filled with a lot of little things that appears in the game. Let me just give you an example. You see all these little icons are going to be on top of these buttons, are going to appear in there. The little plus signs, all those kind of stuff are going to be in there. But today we really tackle just some kind of background image. Let me show you what we have here. This kind of background image is really simple. You can change its color if you wish. We also have buttons, and they do have some kind of little animation on it. Right now it doesn't look that great because we still don't really have any kind of font that can make it look great, but I believe we can actually do something nice with this eventually. So guys, without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so this episode, like I just said, we're going to be tackling most of the actual background you see. So these kind of like big, empty square space or rectangle-ish shape. What I like to start doing in this episode too is to create the biggest atlas. We have the biggest UI atlas, the one that's going to contain all the little things that you don't really know where to put. For example, right here, we should have a plus or a minus button, or like a up arrow or a down arrow for these, or we should have a plus sign on top of that. All these little things, I'd like to start implementing them in the bigger atlas. So let's open up again our PSD thing. We are going to, I feel like doing a duplicate, but that's not going to work. Let's go ahead and just create a new Photoshop file. And this one is going to be bigger. It's going to be 1024 by 1024. Again, this is going to be the bigger atlas, so I'll just call it Atlas. You can call it UI Atlas. And the principle of an atlas is just, it's like we used to do right now. So we just put a lot of stuff in there and we just cut whatever we need. So that's the background. Yep, that's going to work. Let me just put another color on that. Maybe a nice gradient again, just to give it some kind of, I don't know, depth, I guess. And I'm gonna start putting down guides. So I'll have a guide every 256 pixels. And the way I do this is by typing in a percentage in my actual menu here. So horizontal, let's say 75%. And there's probably a keybind for that. I need to learn it. If you guys know the keybind to create new guides, then I will gladly learn it from you. Okay, so here we go. Let's actually check what it is that we need. So we need, like I said, we need some kind of way to cover all these big areas in the background. And I actually like to do it using something really simple. So guys, if you can just bear with me for a second, here is the shape I am going to be using for those. So I'll go at the very top here. This is going to be just, say, a simple square shape. And I'll be taking a pen. Not a brush, an actual pen. And make the pixel, I don't know, maybe 2. And I'll put it on a really white-ish color. Then start from here. And then by holding shift, I will just go there, holding shift again. Well, I'm not holding it right now, but whenever I do my press, then I hold it. So shift here. And shift there. You get the idea. I just do this all around. So here I go. I have a nice square shape. And inside of that square, I'll actually put another white color. However, this time with less alpha. So let me quickly make a folder about this. So simple square. And this is going to be the border, the thing we just done. And this is going to be the fill. Inside of it is going to be the fill. I will go ahead and just take my border, the one I just made, have my one selection, click in the middle. As you can see now, it selects the whole thing inside. Then go on my fill. I have my foreground here, and I'm going to be using the same exact white color. However, the opacity this time is going to be something like 25, I believe. And that actually works fine with me. And oh wait, you know what? Let's actually put a full 100% opacity, and we'll just change it via this menu. So opacity is 100, and through the menu up here, I'll do 25 opacity. Okay, and that's pretty much all I wanted to do here. If you feel like it, you can actually make a gradient. I think that could be cool. Okay, so again, I'll modify this a little bit. I'll just put it on, say, 100%. Remove that, whatever I just did. You can keep it like we had it if you prefer it. But what I'm going to do is I am going to actually take the second gradient here, the one that has alpha on it. I'll click OK. Make sure that this is on this kind of mode. I'm not quite sure what's the name of it, but it basically just creates a line like this. And I'll revert it. So reverse. Start from center, hold shift, and just go down. And it's gonna give me that kind of result, which I like quite a lot. So I'll just, starting from the center about here, I'll just bring it down like, oops, right there, and have a look at this. And it looks so smooth. So that's for one, and that's a simple square shape. Fair enough. Now what I'll do is actually duplicate it and have another, like a really similar thing like that, exactly the same thing, but I'll actually just stretch it, because we do have a lot of menu that are rectangles, and I just want to stretch this and just readjust the size of the sides. Readjust the size of the sides. Yeah, that's what I meant. Okay, so here it is right here. The border is what we're trying to modify here. So I'll take my eraser tool. I'll need to have it as a squarish eraser. How do I do that? Here it is. And I'll just remove, let's say 2 pixels. Is that enough? I think it is. I just need to remove that brush thing I've made by mistake. Or you know what, I'll just do a selection. So I'll take the selection, make sure I only leave 2 pixels in width, and I'll cut it like that. I'll do the exact same thing on this side. Aren't we having a good time? Nice. And I'll also stretch the fill so it doesn't. Or you know what? I actually like this kind of effect. I like to actually give 2 pixels in there. It gives some kind of more, some more definition. So what I'll do is I'll actually grab this side using a Control T to have free transform, and I'll just do this. Yeah, this is actually quite cool. Okay, so I'll leave it like that. I'll go back on my simple square, my first one, type my fill, and I will quickly just give a 2 pixels padding inside of it. There we go. That actually looks cool. Okay, so now if we remove the background, if we actually have a black background, just a full-on black background, if I can remove my selection for a moment. Oops. Okay, I'll just create a new layer. Here it is. If we have a black background like this, it looks, I guess, kind of okay, but there's menu that are going to be needing more opacity than that. So I will quickly just grab. Oh wait, what am I on right now? I'm on 256 pixels. That might be actually too big. Okay, so I've made a small mistake here. Since I'm actually on a bigger scale, I don't really need to have the menu that big. In my head, I just assumed that this was the exact same size as the previous one. But that's not, so I'll create new guides at 12.5 in vertical. And also another one at 50, not 50, sorry, but let's just do 25 plus 12.5, 37.5. And I'll just scale these down a little bit. I'm sorry about that, I've just made a mistake. And I'll also create another guide at 12.5, but on the horizontal line this time. Okay, so again, my mistake, sorry about that. I forgot what I was doing. It happens sometimes. And we just resize those because we are going to need a lot of space for all the little elements that we want to put in our game. And there's also, you need room to make changes in the future for like new elements that just come out of nowhere. Because you're probably going to have some ideas here and there that you need to put some icons and if you don't have any space in your main texture, it's gonna suck. Alright. So let me create a little section for that. Those are the backgrounds. Why not? I'll just call them that. And I'll just put them in here. This is the simple rectangle. And now what I'll do is I'll actually duplicate both of those, scroll them right about there, and just have it with more opacity this time. So have it with a bigger opacity. Now, since what I've made is actually just a it's a 100% opacity gradient in the fill, I actually need to change this a little bit so it makes more sense. So again, what I'll do is I am going to take my gradient tool again. Oops. And now we need to find a way to only select the inside of this. So what I'll do is actually take the one tool, select somewhere else. Oh, and now it does a weird selection. So I'll just take my border tool, select inside of it. Sorry, my border layer, then select inside of it. As you can tell, this is now my selection. I'll go back on my fill layer, and we need to find a way to actually make this more opaque. So let's go ahead. We are going to be taking a new color, so let's try again with white. And the reason why everything should be white is because in Unity, you can actually change the color of your sprite. And if it's white, it's simply just going to assume that color 100%. That's definitely something you want, so keep it around, that's for sure. And can we actually do something of the sort now? What I feel like doing is actually go back to what we had, but I'll just add a background beneath it. So let me check. This is what we had. Now what we're going to do is take this, create a new layer with that selection, and we are going to just put a paint bucket tool, white. That would be cool. Okay. So that's the actual real fill. And you can put a opacity of say 50 in there. Whatever feels like it's enough for your user to see your actual menu. And I will also just make sure it matches the thing we've did really recently, adding that extra pixel. There we go. This is the simple rectangle and simple square shape with a 50% opacity on it. 50%, I'll just write it right there. And let's quickly do the same exact thing for this guy. I will choose the inside of that border, create a new layer, just put my color, put it on 50%. And then we should not need to do anything like that anymore because that's wasting a lot of space. And we love having free space because, I don't know, just mobile games are expensive. Alright, so we've got this out of the way. Let's actually save, let's turn off the layer first, but let's actually go ahead and just save this as a PNG file. We save the PNG file in, of course, artwork. PSD, I'll just keep the default name, so UI Atlas. We wait until it's done, we go back to save as, and this time we save inside of the UI folder. This one, this texture, we're gonna come back to it, of course, because we got so much free space and so much things to do. Let's quickly just export that as a PNG file. We're gonna go in the engine and just start implementing stuff little by little, because we got a lot to do with these. In the menu, that's the first place where you actually need it. In the menu, we have the reset save confirmation. I'd like to actually tackle this because it's the first thing I see every time I boot my kind of process of like replacing art. That's, I go by scene, so the preloader has nothing. Now we have the menu, and that's the first thing you see. That's a little bit annoying when we're trying to move forward. So let's go in artwork, UI. Then choose, of course, Sprite 2D and UI, Sprite Editor, you apply. And here it is. Now, what I feel like doing is kind of doing it by hand, actually. So here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold my click up here and then just drag it. And, well, for some reason I can't do it. It's not letting me. Alright, let me just go back in here. reopen the sprite editor, and it takes in this whole space. So I don't know why it does that. Alright, let me find out why and I'll come back in a moment. Okay, turns out it's because I didn't choose multiple up here, so let me go under multiple, go back in sprite editor, and then we should have the option to have multiple sprite. So here it is. Let me just put a background so we see something. Can we actually have a background? Don't think we can. Okay. So, like I said, you click and hold from here, you just drag like that. You know what the size of this is. It's 128 by 128, so we don't really need to do anything else here. And the Y, it has to start at 896 if you use the same exact size as me. Now the next one, we do this, so we have like this sprite and this now sprite. The position is at 128, we know that. And the Y position is at... I'm not sure right now. Let's just make sure the same height. So the height is 128. And for some reason it doesn't work, so let me just scroll this down a little bit. And there it is. So 128 in X and 128 in H. Everything works fine except the width. Now the width is simple. You do 128 times 2, which is 256. And here you have it. Should be perfectly aligned. Oh, something I don't do, but you can actually do it, is you can change the name, of course, of your sprite down there if you wish. But you probably noticed that because it's right there. Okay, let me actually try to duplicate this. Can I duplicate this? I'm not sure if I can. Let's actually just write it down. The first thing you should do, if you know the size of it when you're trying to place your sprite, is just change the size. So 128 by 128, we know that. I'll just move it on the side, create the other one. That's 256 by 128. And now we just need to match the values, so right about there. And if you're not sure, you know that this is a 1024, so you just do 1024 minus 128. You need to be at 896, which is the case for this very first row. Now, if you do another minus 128, you get 768. That's the place where you want to be, so 768. As you can tell, it matches perfectly. And then on the x-axis, you are going to choose 0. Alright, so we said 768, and the x is going to be 128. Okay, so we've placed enough of those. Let's actually hit apply, and we should now have 4 different sprites. And of course, you could have done that by hand without like being really picky about the numbers, but that's just how I am. Good times. Alright, so reset save confirmation. The first image is this one. We don't modify this one. This one is fine. It's only like a filler background image. Next one is the window. This is definitely something that needs to go away. So where is our UI Atlas? So we've got this here. It doesn't look too bad, but it doesn't have enough alpha in my opinion. And is it more of a rectangle or a square? I'll actually go with the rectangle with a lot of alpha in it, and I'll just maybe bump this to like 500. And as you can tell in the background, we can still see the text behind it. So maybe we should even add another layer with like almost no alpha at all. And I'll quickly do that, and I will come back to you guys in a moment. So pretty much just duplicate this, go on my last layer and just put the alpha on like 85. That's gonna work. And 85 again. We are going to remove the background, save the PSD file, save as PNG this time. When I say save the PSD, I'm only hitting Ctrl S on the keyboard, so it's super fast. And here we go. We should now have like a lot of different shades of this, and we can actually have backgrounds for everything. Of course, you need to actually cut it, so again, take a little bit of time and just cut this properly. The values are 0 in X, 128 in width. You want to go for 128 in height for the first one, and then I think we have it properly over here. I'm not sure. I'm just going to zoom in and quickly look at it. Okay, it needs to be one down. So 640 in Y. We do the same exact thing here. 128, 128. Oh, sorry, 256, 128, 128 in X. And what did we say? We said 640, I guess. Yep, here it is. Hit apply, and we are good to go. Let's continue with this, and we are going to change our reset save window. Is that it? No, the window, here it is. This way it's actually looking better, and we can't really see the background. I mean, we can still see it a little bit, but that's just fine. Okay, so here it is, and what I was talking about earlier is that you can actually change the color of this without any problem. As you can tell, you can put it any color you want, and since it was white in the background, then it just matches everything you wanted to match. And this is some kind of like warning message, so I'll just put a slight red-ish color. Really slight. And here it is. So now that this is done, of course, you can modify the button a little bit, and I will be modifying the button. I'll actually be changing the buttons quite completely. And what I feel like doing with buttons is actually using the new texture we just made. So if I just modify this, not the size, but the position of it just a little bit to say here, let's start using some of our buttons, see if we can have anything cool looking on there. We know these are rectangles. We're going to be using the rectangle-less shape. And I think this is cool. So the first one with the lowest alpha, I think this could actually work. We can change the color of it to, I guess black would be good in this case. It's really up to you, and depending on which color your window is. Yeah, this could actually work fine. So back on here, I'll go for like a black like this. That's gonna work. Same thing for the cancel button. So -50, 50. Put this UI sprite, and I'll go for the same exact color, which is this one. Copy this over. And here we go. Now, since it's a button, we can actually have two states. The state that where it is pressed and the state that it is not pressed. In this case, it's not being pressed. And I think if I just go down there inside of button, we have this normal color, but we also have a color that happens whenever it's highlighted. But then I don't know if I can actually just put another sprite. Let me look at it. So we have the sprite swap over here. And I'll actually go for the sprite swap. Oh yeah, so that is going to work. So sprite swap, highlighted sprite. We don't really have any way to highlight when we're on mobile because it's just a touch. So you don't really see that highlight. You see the pressed more than just the highlight. But we're still gonna put another icon in there. So can we actually have a look at this while it's happening? I don't think we can. Can we visualize it actually? Nope, that's not it. And yeah, so here's what we're gonna do. So whenever we press on the button and wherever we highlight it, we are going to just put a sprite with more alpha on it, like the biggest one. So the UI Atlas 5 in my case. And I'll just put it in highlight as well. Same thing goes for the reset save. So swap that to sprite swap. And let's give it a look inside of the game. I'm going to press play. Yep, that's fine. Reset save. As you can tell, we get those kind of behavior. Now we might want to be changing it for the lowest one. Not the lowest one, but the one in the middle. Maybe the one at like 25% would be great too. But hey, at least now we get some kind of feedback, and I think it looks pretty cool. So again, let me quickly adjust that. Hopefully we can get some kind of awesome result out of it. We are going to go down there, highlighted color. Nope. Let's do reset save is going to assume the Atlas number 3. Same thing up here and in the cancel button as well. Alright. Let's give it a small last try before we move on to the next few things we need to do. Oops, I totally missed out on the button. My bad. That looks actually cool. Alright, I do like that. what we're going to be doing is we're going to stop the video here because we've been going on for a while, and of course we need to keep implementing that. But in the next episode, we are also going to be adding some more buttons to the UI Atlas. Like I said, the little plus sign, and like all those little elements that are just going to make the game much more readable, I guess, much more user-friendly. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please leave me a like. Always like it, I guess. And if you have any comment or question, please leave them in the comment section below. Please check out the Patreon if you wish to support me and this channel and this game and all those whatever things I'm trying to launch left and right. Good times. And yeah, so please subscribe for more tutorials like these, and I will see you guys in the next one.